Today's news highlights. Date March 7, 2025. News highlights: the US announced on March 5 that it had indicted 12 Chinese nationals, including Angsuan employees, Chinese Communist Party security officials, and APT-27 hackers, accusing them of launching a global cyber attack to steal data and crack down on dissent. The FBI listed him as a wanted criminal, and the US State Department offered a reward of up to $10 million for intelligence. Angsuan is accused of cooperating with the CCP public security to profit from hacker attacks. APT-27 steals sensitive information and sells it. The U.S. Department of Justice stressed that it would destroy the CCP's cyber mercenary system, and the FBI warned that participants would be prosecuted, emphasizing the protection of democracy and national security. News highlights: TSMC Chairman Wei Zhijia announced an increase in investment in the United States by $100 billion, which attracted attention. President Lai Ching-te held a press conference with Wei Zhijia on the 6th, emphasizing that this move is a historic moment in Taiwan-US relations. Former U.S. President Donald Trump said the move would avoid tariffs and suggested repealing the CHIPS Act. Wei Zhijia said that this investment is in response to customer demand, has not been affected by pressure, will not affect Taiwan investment. Taiwan will build 11 production lines this year, showing the determination of global layout. News highlights: the 2 sessions of the Communist Party of China in 2025 will expose internal power struggles and economic difficulties. Military representatives kept a low profile and avoided danger, and the vice chairman of the military commission made an unusual speech, without high-profile allegiance to Xi Jinping, triggering speculation that power would be shaken. Li Qiang's attitude has changed. Cai Qi is low-key, and Xi's authority may be challenged. The government claims 5% GDP growth, but lacks a reform package, while military spending rises by 7.2%. The atmosphere in the venue was solemn, the delegates were under surveillance, and the people could not approach. Infighting at the top of the CCP has intensified, the economy is sluggish, and social pressure is rising, indicating political instability and uncertainty about the future. News highlights: Taiwan stocks shrank yesterday and fell in price, falling 156 points to close at 22,715 points, losing the half-year line. The number of gold stocks increased to 18, and the stock prices of materials KY and ESKY were incentivized by the stock split and fundamental profits, and the stock price both exceeded 1,000 yuan, and e-memory replaced Shikes and KY into new shares. Foreign investors sold 8 times in a row, with a cumulative sale of more than 269.46 billion yuan, and the public stock treasury continued to undertake. Experts expect short-term shocks and consolidation, and it is recommended to select stocks instead of the market, and focus on low connections. The U.S. stock market turmoil and the variables of the chip subsidy bill affected market confidence, and TSMC pulled back, shrinking its trading volume to 360.3 billion yuan, and the market is still in the bottoming stage. News highlights: fears of a recession in the U.S. are rising, and the Trump administration's tariffs are heightened risks. Nomura strategists believe that Trump may deliberately orchestrate a recession to prompt the Fed to cut interest rates and depreciate the dollar, paving the way for the new economic policy. Market models show that the probability of a recession in the United States has increased, and investors have turned to safe haven assets. The depreciation of the US dollar is likely to intensify, and the euro is favored. The Fed Beige Book shows a slight increase in the economy, but tariff uncertainty is in the spotlight, and businesses and households are more worried. News highlights: the hoarding tax 2.0 was levied in May this year, and the Ministry of Finance reminded 3 key points: the object of tax payment, the person under the name of the house registration at the end of February each year is responsible for paying, tax rate change, the tax rate for non-owner occupied households with more than 7 households reaches 4.8%, the details vary from place to place, provincial tax scheming, owner-occupied homes must move their household registration before March 24, and up to 3 households will enjoy a 1.2% tax rate, and single owner-occupied homes will be reduced to 1%. Taxpayers should pay attention to the transfer time and filing deadline to ensure that the most preferential tax rate is applied. News highlights: the opening of the 3rd session of the 14th National People's Congress of China. Premier Li Qiang set a GDP growth target of 5% year-on-year, driving the overall rise of mainland stock ETFs, of which CITIC China 50 ZHENG 2-00753L, rose more than 9% in a single day. The market pays attention to the impact of policies on the technology industry, and the Symposium of Private Enterprises emphasizes the high-tech independent strategy. HSBC predicts that the technology industry will surpass real estate as a new economic driver in 2026, driven by policy dividends and AI development, which is expected to further boost investment confidence. News highlights: since its implementation in 1995, Taiwan's universal health insurance has been seen as exemplary, but it is currently facing the dual crisis of emergency department congestion and nursing manpower shortage. Medical staff are under great pressure at work, and some of them choose to leave their jobs due to unreasonable treatment by patients and their families. The problem of emergency and outpatient congestion in Taiwan is directly related to the shortage of medical staff, and low salary and workplace pressure are also the main reasons for resignation. Although the short-term, medium, and long-term improvement plans proposed by the government have some countermeasures, it still needs to significantly strengthen the allocation of manpower and healthcare resources. News highlights Wang Delu is suspected of instigating the rich second-generation Yu Xiongmin to find a gang to beat the Uber driver, and during the investigation, the prosecutor accidentally found that the captain surnamed Liu of the Taipei City Criminal University misinformed Yu Xiongmin of Wang Delu's personal information. The captain said that it was due to misinformation about the fraud case and took the initiative to report it. Internet celebrity Chen Yi criticized the police's statement as far-fetched, and ridiculed the incident as an 8 o'clock plot, pointing out that the rich second generation also found gangsters to deal with violent incidents, which was suspected of involving organized crime. News highlights the Kaohsiung Light Rail had an incident of the driver falling asleep due to physical discomfort on Tuesday, 4th, morning, and the train stopped at Penglai station for 9 minutes, and the passengers reported it to the staff after discovering it. Jeju confirmed that the driver was not in good spirits after taking the drug, and only resumed driving after being reminded by the traffic control center, and assigned other drivers to take over. The company emphasized that if the driver is not in good spirits, he should take the initiative to report and avoid being reluctant to be on duty, and relevant punishments will be imposed. News highlights artist Li Yanjun recently mentioned in the show that she had a dispute with internet celebrity Chen Yi because of the effect of the show, and apologized to the other party afterwards, saying that the two have not yet reconciled, but hope to resolve the misunderstanding. However, Chen Yi responded on the internet, accusing Li Yanjun of spreading rumors in order to defraud the announcement fee, and criticized the show for not verifying it in advance. Chen Yi emphasized that Li Yanjun insulted her on the show, and said that he would not let it go, and even ridiculed Li Yanjun and Wang Delu's past. News highlights today, 7th, under the influence of the southward movement of the cold air mass of the mainland and the cloud and rain belt in South China, various places ushered in the coldest moment, and some areas have issued a special report on low temperature, and the temperature may fall below 10 degrees Celsius. Rainfall gradually decreases in the early morning and increases during the day, especially in the north central and eastern regions. The cold air mass weakened and the temperature rose from Saturday, 8, but the temperature difference between morning and evening was large. The weather will be stable in the middle of next week, with temperatures close to 30 degrees Celsius, but there will be rain from Thursday to Saturday, and a new wave of cold air masses may be ushered in on Sunday. News highlights Taiwan have confirmed their place in the 2026 Classic and are in Group C at Tokyo Dome. The schedule runs from March 5 to 10, and Taiwan will be the only team to play 4 consecutive days against Australia, Japan, the Czech Republic and South Korea. This kind of schedule is a big challenge for pitchers. In the past, Taiwan lost to Cuba due to the late afternoon schedule in the Classic tournament, but this time it was fortunate to arrange for the Czech Republic as the morning and brunch session, which was more advantageous. News highlights the Yuyuan Road construction project in Kaohsiung's Nanzi district advertises that it is an 8 to 15 minute walk to the Purple Line of the MRT, which is still under planning, attracting home buyers. However, after the investigation of the Fair Trade Commission, it was found that the MRT Purple Line is still under planning, and the station has not been determined, and the advertisement does not match the facts. In accordance with the Fair Trade Law, the FTC imposed a fine of 400,000 yuan on Yuzhen Construction Company and a fine of 200,000 yuan on Guangcheng Advertising Company, and reminded the operators that advertisements should be consistent with the actual situation to avoid violating the law. News highlights the US has expanded its ban on China's networking equipment from Huawei on the telecom side to TP-Link on the consumer and enterprise side, which could trigger other countries to follow suit. Taiwan Netcom believes that this situation is similar to the US-China trade war in 2018, although uncertain, but it is also a once-in-a-century big business opportunity. Taiwanese Netcom factories such as Yuxuan, Zhenguan, and Jianhan are actively responding and plan to provide products that comply with the laws and regulations of various countries, and use this to shift their production strategies and seize opportunities from markets such as the United States and India. News highlights some netizens found that New Year's Day on January 1 next year, 115 years, is a Thursday, and it is impossible to arrange a holiday, which has aroused heated discussions on the internet. Li Huizi, spokesperson of the executive agency, said that there are different opinions from all walks of life on the planning of flexible holidays, and the government will continue to pay attention to it and use it as a reference for future policies. It has been discussed that due to the excessive number of flexible adjustment of holidays and make-up shifts, the Executive Yuan revised the relevant regulations in 112 to reduce the frequency of make-up shifts and adjust the scope of holidays to ensure that they are more in line with the needs of the people. News highlights the new Taipei City Environmental Protection Bureau reminds that the scrapped mobile power supply should not be discarded with the garbage and should be recycled separately, otherwise it may face a fine of 1,200 to 6,000 yuan. Power banks are waste-dry batteries, containing lithium batteries, which are prone to explosion risk if not properly disposed of, so they must be properly recycled. The public can hand over the end-of-life power supply to the cleaning team of each district or designated recycling point to avoid mixing with general garbage, ensuring safety and promoting resource reuse. News highlights: as the trade war between the United States and China escalated, the Chinese embassy in the United States said that China would accompany the trade war or other forms of conflict to the end, and called on the United States to negotiate an issue on an equal footing. U.S. Secretary of Defense Hersh has stressed that the U.S. side is ready but does not seek war with China, and peace comes from strength. China increased its defense budget by 7.2% and reiterated that the conflict does not benefit either side, whether it is hot or cold. Despite their antagonism, the two sides continue to maintain complex cooperation and games on economic and security issues. News highlights: TSMC Chairman Wei Zhijie recently announced in the United States that TSMC will invest $165 billion in the United States to establish 3 wafer fabs, 2 packaging factories and 1 R&D center, and recruit a large number of local talents. Wei Zhijie stressed that this investment plan will not affect the development of Taiwan. Taiwan will add 11 new production lines, and continue to increase investment. As for the R&D center, he explained that a team of 1,000 people will be set up in the United States to support the local production line, emphasizing that Taiwan is still the foundation of TSMC's R&D. News highlights: Democratic Progressive Party Keelung City Councilor Zhang Bingjun, his father Zhang Jinhuang, and mother Chen Kai-Gru were suspected of fraudulently receiving more than 10 million assistant fees, and after a trial of 1 year and November 11, the original verdict was upheld in the second instance. Zhang Bingjun appealed, and the Supreme Court rejected the appeal and determined the verdict. The court held that he fraudulently received 1.19 million yuan in assistant fees and involved the receipt of political donations, and after the verdict was confirmed, Zhang Bingjun would be dismissed, and he would need to return the criminal proceeds and provide voluntary labor services. This case has no impact on the by-election of the Keelung City Council, because the vacancy is less than 1/2. News highlights: Taiwan stocks opened at 22,696.23 points today, 7, fell to 22,611.41 points in a volatile trend, and then rebounded to 22,747.11 points, and fluctuated near the flat. TSMC opened at 1,005 yuan to hold the 1,000 yuan mark, Honhai opened at 171 yuan, and Mediatek opened at 1,475 yuan. Today, there are 7 levels of individual stocks with a daily limit, namely Lianying, Huayuyi, Miada Technology, Shantai, Taishankai, Haotai and Chile. News highlights: U.S. President Donald Trump has imposed tariffs on China twice since taking office, intensifying the trade war. The Chinese embassy in the United States responded strongly, saying that China will accompany China to the end, regardless of the trade war or other forms of war. U.S. Secretary of Defense Joseph Hess stressed that the U.S. side is ready, but not seeks, a war with China, and mentioned strengthening military capabilities to ensure peace. China, for its part, refuted that the U.S. action was using the fentanyl issue as an excuse, and said that if the U.S. side continues to act wrongly, it will resolutely retaliate. News highlights: TSMC's increased investment in the United States has attracted attention, and President Li Qiang held a press conference with TSMC Chairman Wei Zhijie on the 6th, emphasizing that this is an important moment for TSMC, Taiwan, and Taiwan-US relations. Wei Zhijie said that TSMC's overseas investment is entirely based on customer demand, and stressed that the expansion of the United States will not affect the development of Taiwan, which will add 11 new production lines. He further explained the problem of core technology leakage, and humorously reminded the media not to report too much, causing laughter from the audience. Some people familiar with the matter praised Wei Zhijie's sincerity and believed that TSMC's success depended on strength rather than government policy. News highlights: Hitai Automobile's market share reached 46.6% in January, ranking firmly in the leading auto market in Taiwan. The increase in market share was mainly due to the shrinking of the overall market, the stable sales volume of Hitai, and the poor performance of competitors such as MG and imported brands. With Toyota, Lingzi and other brands and high-quality after-sales service, Hitai continues to lead the market. In the future, Hitai will enter the fields of finance, leasing, and shared vehicles through diversified strategies, and enter the tourism industry to enhance its competitiveness and expand its ecosystem. News highlights: Hong Kong actress Li Shanshan recently revealed that she was infected with influenza A in January this year, and her condition was once so serious that she could not take care of herself, and her blood oxygen dropped to 83 and was complicated by pneumonia. She almost ended up in the intensive care unit and was shocked to learn that Big S had passed away from the flu after recovering. Li Shanshan urged everyone not to ignore influenza, especially for high-risk groups, and to seek medical attention as soon as possible. Doctors pointed out that the flu symptoms are strong and may cause complications such as pneumonia and encephalitis, especially for groups with low immunity. News highlights: the timing and combination of fruits have a great impact on health. The average person can eat seasonal fruits at any time, and eating them 2 to 4 times a day can help gastrointestinal health. After eating a large meal, you can choose fruits such as pineapple and kiwi fruit to promote digestion. People with high blood sugar should choose low GI fruits such as apples and eat them between meals. Eating fruit within an hour of exercising can help restore strength. People with a bad stomach should avoid eating acidic fruits on an empty stomach. People who don't sleep well can choose magnesium-rich fruits to improve the quality of sleep. News highlights to S. Su Ziwan died of influenza complicated by pneumonia on February 2, and the issue of inheritance has attracted attention. Her estate will be inherited by her husband Gu Junyi and 2 minor children, who will be managed by her biological father, Wang Xiafei. According to the report, Big SS luxury house in Xinyi, Taipei, has a market value of about 460 million yuan and a monthly mortgage of up to 1 million yuan. Although there are rumors that Gu Junyi is willing to take charge of the mortgage, his friends refute this and emphasize that the rumors are untrue, and Gu Junyi's agent has not confirmed the matter. News highlights Ji Qin played a single mother in the movie Night School Girl, and her mother-son relationship with Chen Zhaifei was touching. In reality, she has been married to Wang Ronfu for 19 years and has a sweet relationship. She revealed that Wang Ronfu often looks for a wife and expresses anxiety about the empty nest period, especially after the children are about to leave home and go abroad. Ji Qin recalled that she had a dispute with her son over a transfer school for 3 months, and later the mother and son reconciled, and her son understood her hard work. The husband and wife complement each other's personalities, and Wang Ronfu will take the initiative to apologize after a dispute. As the children grow up, Ji Qin hopes to accept more drama appointments, and her husband fully supports her. News highlights: in order to cope with the establishment of new units and the reform of the military service system, the Taiwan Armed Forces will adjust their personnel year by year on the basis of maintaining a total strength of 215,000 troops. In the future, the number of officials will also be slightly increased to less than 300. According to the national defense budget, the number of generals in the budget has exceeded 300 to 308. With the establishment of new equipment and units, the Taiwan military will conduct an annual rolling review to make the adjustment of posts more flexible. News highlights: TSMC announced an additional $100 billion investment in the U.S. to strengthen its position in advanced chip manufacturing and help reduce the risk of Trump tariffs. This move not only responds to market demand, but also deepens Taiwan-US relations and brings more security concerns to Taiwan. TSMC emphasized that Taiwan's production plan will not be affected, and it will continue to accelerate its global layout in the future and consolidate its leading position in the semiconductor market. News highlights: the rookie competition held during the spring training of the major leagues was announced, and 4 players from Taiwan were selected, including Tiger Li Hao, Pirate Zheng Zongzhi, selected for 2 consecutive years, and athletes Zhuang Chen's-Hong Ao and Dodge K Jingxian, selected for the first time. The tournament will take place from March 13 to 16 and will be broadcast live. The selected players include the MLB Pipeline Top 100 rookies and a number of top rookies in the tournament. News highlights: a fire broke out at the site of the thermal power plant in Taiwan Radio this morning, and the fire brigade was quickly dispatched. The accident occurred at 10:10 a.m. and the fire started at an outdoor formwork at the water intake channel construction site, and there were no casualties. The fire was brought under control at 10:30 a.m. and completely extinguished at 10:59 a.m., with a burning area of about 200 square meters, the cause of which is still under investigation. News highlights: U.S. President Trump once again expressed his dissatisfaction with the U.S. Japan Security Treaty on the 6th, believing that the treaty is not reciprocal, and the United States needs to defend Japan, but Japan does not need to protect the United States, hinting that Japan may be required to increase defense spending. In addition, Trump criticized NATO allies for exploiting the United States in trade and underspending on defense, and warned that the United States would no longer provide protection if it did not pay more. It is worth noting that when Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba visited the United States in February, Trump did not publicly express such dissatisfaction. News highlights: 68-year-old Taiwan's most beautiful Obazan Chen Maifeng admitted frankly that there is a man who has been in love with him for more than 40 years. When she was young, she chose a career because of the opposition of the other party's mother, and the other party later got married and had a daughter, and lived a full life. Now that the other party's wife has died, the two have regained contact and become regular dinner friends to talk about life. She laughed about her fate with Yan Chensu, saying that he was heartwarming and romantic, and he had made surprise appearances on her birthdays and New Year's birthdays many times, which moved her. News highlights: Chu Zongheng's wife Vicky opened a piece bento and invested it with private money, and the bento box was sold out within 1 hour on the 3rd day of the opening. The name of the store is taken from Lihu Zangli in Heping East Road in Baishi, focusing on fresh ingredients and nutrition, and turmeric rice is a feature. Vicky is hands-on, answering the phone, handing out flyers, and happy to interact with guests. With a 6-figure investment, she is taking on the challenge of the restaurant industry for the first time and plans to expand the supply in the future. With 4 daughters who have grown up, her family fully supports her to start a business, and she laughs that her children love home and should not face an empty nest period. News highlights: recently, it was rumored on the internet that a man urinated in Haidai Lao hot pot, which sparked heated discussions. The video shows the man standing on a table urinating into the pot, surrounded by laughter. Haidai Lau has called the police, emphasizing that no matter whether it is posed for photos or not, it will be held accountable in accordance with the law. Netizens had different opinions, most of them condemned the misconduct, demanded severe punishment, and paid attention to the follow-up investigation results. News highlights senior artist Tian Wei misreported Chen Sheng's death yesterday, 6th, and mourned on social platforms, saying that he went to the angel, which shocked netizens. Later, he found out that it was a new long message, and urgently deleted the article and apologized, explaining that it was a mistaken belief in the online video. In fact, Chen Sheng is currently traveling abroad, and friends have also come forward to refute the rumors and confirm that he is safe. News highlights mobile power has become a must-have item for modern people, but if there is an abnormality such as expansion and overheating, it should be replaced immediately. The new Taipei City Environmental Protection Bureau reminds that the power bank contains lithium batteries, which are waste-dry batteries, and must be disposed of by recycling vehicles or electrical retail stores when discarded, and should not be thrown into garbage trucks. If you fail to deal with it in accordance with the regulations, you may be fined up to 6,000 yuan. News highlights TSMC announced an additional investment of $100 billion in the United States, planning to build 3 wafer fabs, 2 advanced packaging fabs and 1 R&D center. Regarding the concerns of the outside world about whether it will affect investment in Taiwan, Chairman Wei Zhijia stressed that this move is in response to the needs of American customers and will not affect TSMC's expansion plan in Taiwan, where 11 production lines will still be built. President Lai Ching-te and Wei Zhijia also emphasized at a joint press conference that Taiwan's R&D center is still an important core technology center and will continue to expand in the future. News highlights Kuomintang legislator Ye Yuanxi has encountered controversy over his past handling of the issue of seriously ill assistants, and has been deeply involved in the recall turmoil. High-level party analysis pointed out that Ye Yuanxi's constituency has low support and insufficient local services, so it is necessary to strengthen management. Zhu Liluan privately asked him to stop participating in the Green Camp political talk program, focus on local services, and build better relationships with grassroots people and local leaders. News highlights internet celebrity Chen Yi was sued by Li Yijun for violating the copyright law for reprinting the woman barrister Li Yijun fan picture card and ridiculing its typo Renyu, while promoting Ludian products. The Taipei District Prosecutor's Office believes that Chen Yi reproduced the pictures and texts without authorization and made them public, infringing on the property rights of others, and decided to prosecute. Li Yijun once praised Chen Yi for looking like Song Haikyo, but after being caught by the other party making a typo, it caused controversy. News highlights TSMC's announcement to expand its investment in the United States has sparked domestic political controversy. The Kuomintang caucus criticized TSMC for becoming American semiconductor company and accused the government of having no role in the negotiations, while Democratic Progressive Party legislator Guo Kuo counterattacked, revealing that Kuomintang legislator Wang Xiaoling and his wife held more than 11.27 million yuan of TSMC stocks, pointing out that they were investing heavily while singing about TSMC. In addition, he also named Kuomintang legislator Chen Jinghui for holding TSMC ADR, questioning that the Blue Camp invested in TSMC depository receipts in the United States while promoting the American semiconductor manufacturing company argument. This political offensive and defensive battle once again highlights the impact of TSMC's investment decisions on Taiwan's political arena. News highlights the Taipei District Prosecutor's Office indicted 13 people, including writers Wang Yun and Li Wei, for causing serious injuries to a female believer surnamed Tsai due to uncontrolled religious rituals. Wang Wei and others were suspected of causing death by injury in accordance with the criminal law, and Li Wei chose to become a tainted witness and cooperate with the investigation. The court held a detention court for Wang Yu and 3 believers, and ruled that the 4 were detained and banned for 3 months. Wang Yu stressed that he was innocent and expressed his plea for bail, and said that the association had nothing to do with him, but the court believed that he was involved in a major crime and there was a risk of collusion of evidence, so it decided to continue his detention and ban him. News highlights when the Kuomintang summoned Fu Kunking to lead a delegation to visit Hong Kong, a member of the regiment surnamed Chen was arrested and detained by the Hong Kong police, but Fu Kunking did not make any reaction, causing the outside world to question. Democratic Progressive Party legislator Wang Dingyu pointed out 2 unusual. First, after the members were arrested, Fu Kunking continued to carry out activities as usual. Second, the tourist surnamed Chen did not seek Fu Kunking's help, but turned to Lin Yujun of the People's Party for help, indicating that Fu's influence in China has weakened. Wang speculated that Mr. Fu might have refused to help, arguing that the incident showed that he had distanced himself from China. News highlights Taiwan set off a general recall boom. 32 legislators of the Kuomintang passed the review, and the DPP was 0, provoking Zhao Xiaokong to criticize the Kuomintang for being too weak. Huang Xixian, a veteran media person, pointed out that the real shame was not 32:0, but the dishonest behavior of the Kuomintang in the process of recall, such as a large number of dead people impersonating their names and signing and forging signatures, which discredited the party. She argues that the KMT has failed to properly address the issue of being ousted, but has instead failed to win voter support and is not aware of the negative impact of these actions. News highlights today, 7th. Under the influence of the mainland's cold air mass, the temperature in Taiwan is low, and the temperature below 10 degrees may occur in some areas of Miaoli County and Kinmen County, and an orange alert is issued in some parts of Miaoli. Meteorologists predict that stronger cold air may hit Taiwan in mid-March, reaching the level of a cold snap. There are localized heavy rains on the north coast of Keelung, Taipei, Xinbeizizi, and Hualien Mountains, but the heavy rain special report has been lifted. News highlights internet celebrity Nana Q posted a post about sexual harassment when she cooperated with other internet celebrities, which made netizens speculate that she was insinuating Jiang and angered many people. Jiang posted a video on the 6th to refute Nana Q, saying that everything was agreed during the filming process, and explaining that the so-called sexual harassment was not true. She revealed that Nana Q had expressed her gratitude many times after filming, and even apologized to her. After the video was exposed, netizens poured into Nanak's IG messages to criticize her for her inconsistent words and deeds. News highlights Luz Haihan, the actor of Good Luck Comes on the 8 o'clock file of Mint, was recently frequently mentioned by the account Zhang Lijian on the social platform Threads, which posted strange sentences and incomprehensible grammar, which unexpectedly became popular, attracting many people to imitate Zhang Lijian. After Luz Haihan was named many times, he finally responded in person, and responded to this phenomenon with a humorous tone, which made netizens laugh. The account began to post posts in January this year, gradually adding personal names, and mentioning Luz Haihan many times, which sparked heated discussions on the internet. News highlights the 62-year-old international actor Tony Leung loves skiing, and goes to Hokkaido, Japan every winter for a skiing vacation, and often wears a stuffed doll headgear to show his childlike innocence. Recently, some netizens met Tony Leung at the Hokkaido ski resort and shared a group photo. In the photo, Tony Leung is wearing a sky blue ski jacket and black ski pants, blending into the crowd alone, without bodyguards at all, and looks quite down to earth. Although his face is a little vicissitudes, he is still handsome, which makes netizens call it a male god. News highlights senior host Cao Kitai recently revealed that he was hospitalized for mild transient cerebral ischemia, commonly known as mini-stroke, although he recovered quickly and was able to speak fluently, but doctors warned that this may be a precursor to a stroke. If the clot resolves spontaneously within a short period of time, symptoms disappear within 24 hours with no sequelae, but 10 to 15% of patients may have a true stroke within 90 days. Cao mentioned that he was returning to Taiwan with his family at the time of the onset of the disease, and stressed that regular medication and lifestyle changes are essential to prevent stroke. News highlights in the program Miss Buxidai, He Shaoxia revealed that when he first appeared on the show, he felt that Xiao S was a little alienated from him, and began to reflect on whether he offended the other party with inappropriate words. Xiao S admitted frankly on the spot that He Shaoxia once mentioned in the show that his ideal type is a foreign actress, and said that there is no girl in Taiwan who can compare with her, which made her feel uncomfortable. He Shaoxia then apologized, but said that I forget the glass heart of the Taiwanese every time, causing chaos at the scene. News highlights recently, millions of YouTuber Anti-Bone Boy Sun Sheng was involved in a sexual harassment case, and internet celebrity Nana Q then posted an article accusing a well-known internet celebrity of forcibly smelling his genitals and forcing him to bite a sex toy, causing netizens to speculate that it was Jiang, Lin Jiaoling. Jiang then released the video to fight back, restore the truth of the incident, and questioned Nanak's mentality, emphasizing that when the two cooperated, Nana Q had agreed to the content of the film and expressed her acceptance many times. Jiang explained that if Nana Q feels unwell during the process, the team will immediately stop filming and care about her condition. She said that Nana Q had thanked her and accepted the subsequent changes, but she couldn't understand why she was biting back. News highlights actress Da.S, Suzy Wan, died of influenza complicated by pneumonia in February, and the inheritance left behind has been distributed, but the 460 million yuan mansion Taipei Xinyi where she lives with her husband Gu Junyi has become the focus. Media reports pointed out that Gu Junyi needs to pay a mortgage of more than 1 million yuan per month, and if no one can afford it, he may face seizure and auction. Gu Junyi's friends publicly refuted it, saying that this rumor was untrue, and believed that the statement of taking down the mortgage was completely unfounded. News highlights actor Terry Zhang Zhengkai recently reviewed his cooperation experience with veteran actress Chen Maifeng 22 years ago, and revealed that during her overseas tour with Chen Maifeng was drunk and slept in his room, and Terry helped her go back to her room to rest. Terry lamented the revolutionary emotions and good memories between the two, and said that Chen Maifeng is not only dedicated and warm-hearted, like a patriarch in the entertainment industry. In this regard, Chen Maifeng also thanked Terry for his efforts and enthusiasm, and wished him to continue to maintain. News highlights artist Li Yu, former Watermelon brother, had a birthday on March 6, but because his mother had a sudden atrial fibrillation and needed heart surgery, he chose to celebrate the holiday in a low-key manner. He said his biggest birthday wish is the health of his family. Despite the difficulties, Li Yu restarted the live broadcast program Li Yu Fun 4 Nights and invited the Huang brothers Wei Wei as the guest of the first episode. Despite the technical problems encountered at the start of the broadcast, fans enthusiastically supported it, and the number of viewers of the live broadcast was close to 5,000. News highlights TSMC announced an increase in investment of $100 billion in the United States, raising questions about TSMC's transformation into U.S. semiconductor manufacturing company. In this regard, Wei Zhijia and President Li Qiang held a press conference on the 6th to refute doubts. Legislator Lin Chuyin criticized the Kuomintang for cooperating with China to denigrate Taiwan on the 7th, and pointed out that Kuomintang legislators such as Wang Xiaoling, Wang Hongwei and others hold TSMC stocks, and they are honest, alluding to their two-faced methods, and calling for not being confused by anti-American remarks. She stressed that investors are optimistic about TSMC's future, and the KMT should respect the competitiveness of Taiwan and TSMC. News highlights Taiwan has been confirmed to advance to the main draw after beating Spain in the 2026 World Baseball Classic qualifying round. In March next year, the Taiwan team may be in the same group as Japan and South Korea in the preliminary round of Group C, and the venue will be Tokyo Dome. With China out, Taiwan's chances of being included in Group C have increased. It is expected that Taiwan may face a late pickup and 4-day consecutive play situation in the schedule, with opponents including Australia, the Czech Republic, Japan, and South Korea. News highlights GameStop Wang Palladium, 3,293, will make a profit of 9 billion yuan in 2024, with an annual revenue increase of 30.5% year-on-year, and a net profit after tax of 9.057 billion, a record high. The company decided to pay 2.768 billion yuan in employee remuneration, with an average of 2.45 million yuan per person, an annual increase of 41%. Palladium is actively applying for a UK online gambling license, and the European and Southeast Asian markets continue to grow, while the US market grows slightly. News highlights a fire broke out in the 81st rezoning area of Daliao District, Kaohsiung yesterday, 6, and the location caused supernatural speculation. In October last year, the owner of the house, a man surnamed Li, committed suicide in protest against the demolition, and wrote on the iron door a curse that the whole family of the demolisher of my house would die. The Lands Bureau will attempt to extradite the souls, but it is suspected that firecrackers were set off to cause the fire. There was no sound of firecrackers at the scene, and the coincidence was chilling. Li Nan had previously received compensation for demolition and relocation, but he finally chose to commit suicide, and the cause of death is still a mystery. News highlights artist Wang Delu and rich second-generation Yu Xiongmin are suspected of instigating violence, instructing you to contact a familiar pawn shop to grasp the number and location of the Uber driver, and find the 4C's gang master Xiao Ajun and 3 younger brothers to beat the driver. Wang Delu was bailed 5 million yuan on suspicion of attempted murder, and Yu was detained and forbidden to see him. After the incident, the police quickly arrested the 3 suspects and tracked down Xiao Ajun. Xiao Ajun denied accepting money, claiming that he was only helping his old friend vent his anger. News highlights TSMC's announcement to expand its investment in the United States has raised questions about whether it will affect Taiwan's development. Li Qiang and Wei Zhijia held a press conference on the 6th to clarify, emphasizing that the investment will not affect Taiwan, and plans to add 11 new production lines in Taiwan. TSMC still maintains the principle of global factory construction to ensure that Taiwan's development will not be affected. In addition, according to a survey by YES123 Job Search, TSMC has been the first choice for graduates for 12 consecutive years, along with other leading companies including Evergreen Group and Cathay Gold. News highlights in February 2025, a series of dismemberments occurred in Kaohsiung, and 72-year-old Zhang Zhizong killed and dismembered 3 women in their 70s from December 2024 and threw the body pieces into the Qianshen Canal. Although the surveillance showed him as a suspect, Zhang Zhizong never pleaded guilty, and the police pressed him with evidence. The terrible thing about the case is that Zhang Zhizong handled the crime calmly, and even prevaricated by throwing away old clothes. Folklore experts believe that he may have learned the technique of lowering his head because his modus operandi was in line with traditional customs, especially the act of gouging out the navel and scalp of the victim, presumably to avoid revenge from the unjust spirits. News highlights to S. Su Ziwan, died of influenza complicated by pneumonia last month at the age of 48, and the issue of inheritance and family custody has been dealt with. Su Yejin's lawyer sister Su Zinyun assisted in the coordination and posted a message of condolences after the SS death, calling her beloved family. The Zinyi mansion jointly owned by Big S and Gu Junyi has a mortgage of more than 1 million per month, which is currently borne by Gu Junyi. News highlights 53-year-old actor Mario Buletin Qiaojin has been married to his wife for 7 years, has a daughter, and successfully conceived a second child after 3 artificial inseminations, and announced the safe birth of his son today, 7th. He shared a photo with his son on Facebook and happily congratulated his son Buletin Dewan on his birthday. Mario and his wife show joy and relief and accompany her during childbirth. Netizens sent their blessings one after another and called their son cute. Mario mentioned that after 3 embryo implantations, the good news finally ushered in, and the health of the baby is the most important. News highlights: recently, a woman in Guangdong, China, went to a massage parlor for shoulder and neck massage because of neck discomfort, but she did not expect to have numbness and weakness in her left arm after massage, and was diagnosed with acute cerebral infarction after being sent to the hospital, and was almost paralyzed. Doctors point out that the blood vessels in the neck are very weak, and improper massage or fitness may cause the blood vessels to tear and form blood clots, leading to stroke. Doctors remind that neck pain should seek professional diagnosis and avoid random massage. News highlights: the new Taipei mayoral election campaign has entered a white-hot one, and the current mayor Hou Yuyi's term will expire in 2026. Taipei City Vice Mayor Li Sichuan, new Taipei Vice Mayor Lu Heron and Kuomintang legislator Hong Menkai are the popular candidates. On the Democratic Progressive Party's side, legislator So Kai-Huai has made it clear that he will run for the election, and Secretary General Lin Yusheng has also actively run to the local government. Media person Wu Zijia believes that no matter who the DPP elects, it is slightly inferior to the KMT, because Hou Yuyi's support is crucial to the election. Li Sichuan leads the polls, but the election campaign is still undecided, and the results of the primary election may be announced after next spring. News highlights: TSMC Chairman Wei Zhijia said that TSMC's $100 billion investment in the United States to set up factories is mainly to meet customer needs, and Taiwan's 11 production lines will still be built as scheduled. However, media personality Wu Zijia is worried about Taiwan's future, worried that if TSMC no longer invests in Taiwan, Taiwan may become Filipinoized. He pointed out that Taiwan lacks new major investment in the future and questioned what Taiwan's next industry will be. His worries about the future generation's salary stagnation have left him deeply anxious about Taiwan's future. News highlights: former Minister of Communications Li Mengjian resigned last year due to extramarital affairs, and recently returned to the Executive Yuan as a paid advisor, triggering opposition parties to question the Lai government's nepotism. In response, the Executive Yuan Chok Wing-tai said that Li Mengjian has a professional background in water conservancy engineering and has been praised in the past, and expects him to assist in Taiwan's water control projects in the future. Chok Wing-tai stressed that Li Mengjian will report to the public with his professional achievements and be responsible for himself. News highlights: in recent years, Japan's tourist attractions have been crowded with people, causing frequent chaos, causing problems for local governments and residents. A few days ago, a resident of Sapporo City, Hokkaido, found as many as 10 large suitcases and garbage piled up in the snow in Sosei River Park, suspected to have been discarded by foreign tourists. Local operators have also complained that more and more foreign tourists in Japan are bothered by the fact that they are casually discarding their old luggage after buying new suitcases. News highlights: Tesla has recently experienced serious sales difficulties in the global market, especially in the European market. In Germany in particular, sales in February plunged 76% from a year earlier, to just 1,429 units. The analysis pointed out that Tesla CEO Elon Musk publicly supported the right-wing anti-immigrant and pro-Russian political parties, which made German consumers strongly disgusted and affected the brand image. In addition, Tesla is also facing challenges in the Chinese market, with sales falling 49% year-on-year in February, in stark contrast to BYD's strong growth, showing its sales struggle. News highlights: artist Wang Delu is suspected of instigating injuries, and is involved in retaliation against Uber drivers with friends surnamed Yu and the owner of the Four Cs gang, Xiaojun. In April last year, Wang Delu got into an argument with the driver, and the driver was later beaten. Wang Delu suspected that through a friend surnamed Yu, he entrusted someone to find revenge with a red envelope of 36,000 yuan. A friend surnamed Yu searched for the power car through a pawn shop, and finally found Xiaojun and others to commit murder. Xiaojun denied receiving money after being arrested, and the case attracted media attention, and the details of Wang Delu's involvement in the case were also exposed. News highlights: former Transport Minister Li Mengjian resigned last August after an extramarital affair caused an uproar, making him the shortest-serving transport minister since the democratically elected president. Recently, he returned to the Executive Yuan as an advisor, which attracted attention and questions from the outside world. In an interview with the media, Executive Director Chok Wing-tai said that Li has a major in water conservancy and engineering and has excelled in his past public service career. Despite questions about the appointment, Chok stressed that Li would focus on assisting the government in promoting Taiwan's water conservancy and water control projects, and asked Li to respond to the public's concerns with concrete results and be directly accountable to him. News highlights: internet celebrity Chen Yi was sued by Li Yujin for infringement for reposting and ridiculing the picture card of the woman barrister Li Yujin, fan specialist, and the business of mixing Ludian products. The Taipei District Prosecutor's Office believes that Chen Yi reproduced Li Yujin's creation without permission, which is suspected of violating the copyright law, and prosecuted him. Li Yujin shared the news on social media and thanked the prosecutor for her judgment. Chen Yi responded humorously, saying that even if he became an ex-convict, he was still certified by the court to look like Song Hye-kyo. News highlights artist Meng Jun-gru recently shared the process of learning English on Facebook, and attached a recommended link to the online tutoring platform Tutor ABC, which caused some netizens to question her post in the hair industry. In this regard, Tutor ABC issued a statement clarifying that Meng Jun-gru is one of the students of the platform, and the sharing of learning experience is purely spontaneous, and there is no commercial cooperation with the platform. The platform respects the expressions of the participants and emphasizes that it will continue to provide a high-quality learning environment. News highlights on the morning of the 4th, there was an incident in which the driver fell asleep in the cab of the Kaohsiung Light Rail. After the train stopped at Pier Penglai station at 9:50, the train was suspended for 9 minutes due to the driver's physical discomfort and lack of energy due to medication. The passenger found out and reported it, and the driver woke up and resumed driving. The Kaohsiung MRT company said that it would conduct assessment and punishment in accordance with regulations, and emphasized that drivers should take the initiative to report when they are in poor spirits and should not be forced to be on duty. News highlights recently, the artist Wang Mainland has been in turmoil, and now it is involved in the case of leakage of secrets in the police circles. According to the report, Wang Dalo spent 3.6 million yuan to find someone to help because he was suspected of evading military service, but he could not contact the other party later and suspected that he had been defrauded. Wang Dalo asked a friend surnamed Yu to report the case, and asked the acting captain surnamed Liu of the Taipei City Criminal University for help, and later the captain surnamed Liu accidentally mispassed the suspect's personal information to a friend surnamed Yu. As a result, the captain surnamed Liu was interviewed and dealt with for the crime of leaking secrets. Although he was an exemplary cop who had cracked transnational drug cartels and other major cases, his mistake led to a ruined position where he was about to be promoted to full captain and demoted to back office work. This incident attracted media attention, and Wang Dalo became the focus again. News highlights how to Biomedical, 6,872, was listed on the ODC at an underwriting price of 23.4 yuan on the 7th, and opened to 32.45 yuan, an increase of nearly 39%, driving the share prices of Houtai, 4,131, and Taisheng Materials, 6,649, to rise. Houda Biomedicine focuses on ultrasound therapy for central nervous system diseases and has initiated a Phase 3 clinical trial for recurrent glioblastoma. Despite the revenue loss in 2023 and the first 3 quarters of 2024, it still attracts market attention. Teaspoon's revenue increased sharply in February, focusing on the research and development of innovative biomedical materials, and its stock price also hit a new high. News highlights TSMC, 2330. Announced that it will invest an additional $100 billion in the United States to build 3 wafer fabs, 2 packaging facilities and 1 R&D center. Chairman Wei Zhijia said that the expansion of investment was not enough. However, TSMC's share price is caught in a $1,000 defense war, and industry commentator Liu Xingzi believes that if the stock price can hold on to 1,000 yuan, the market will accept $650 plus $100 billion for a 4-year death-free gold medal. If it breaks, the market will be worried about the long-term gross margin being dragged down. Liu Xingzi stressed that it is difficult for TSMC to refuse the US demand, and it is difficult for Taiwan to withstand a number of US pressures. News highlights according to the latest data from the Joint Recruitment Center, the average amount of housing loans for women in the country exceeded 10 million yuan, of which the total amount of housing loans for women in Taipei City reached 17.9 million yuan. The increase in women's housing loans in Hsinchu County and City surpassed that of Liudu, increasing by 6 million yuan and 4.9 million yuan respectively, an increase of nearly double. Hsinchu County is the only area second only to Shuangbei where women's housing loans exceed 10 million. Women's home buying has benefited from high income growth, expanded employment opportunities, and changes in modern attitudes about marriage, with many women becoming home registrants and having more property rights. News highlights US President Trump announced on the 6th that he is expected to visit Saudi Arabia in a month and a half, and revealed that Saudi Arabia is committed to investing $1 trillion in the United States. Trump said Saudi Arabia would buy a large amount of American military equipment and other products. The trip will discuss a ceasefire in the Russia-Ukraine war and lay the framework for a peace agreement. Trump stressed that Saudi Arabia is the first country to visit during his presidency and that Saudi Arabia has previously pledged to expand investment in the United States. News highlights recently, a video of a man standing on a table in a Haidai Lao restaurant and urinating on a hot pot went viral on the internet, triggering a strong reaction from netizens, criticizing his disgusting behavior and demanding severe punishment. Haidai Lao then issued a statement, saying that it had reported the case and would cooperate with the public security organs in the investigation, emphasizing that no matter whether they posed for photos or not, they would be held accountable in accordance with the law. The lawyer pointed out that this act may violate the Public Security Punishment Law, which is punishable by administrative detention and a fine. News highlights the Ministry of Agriculture has launched the Incentive Fund for Children of Farmers and Fishermen to support the children of disadvantaged farmers and fishermen to study in high school vocational or tertiary schools in China. The application period is from March 1 to March 31, 2025, and the place of application is the Agricultural and Fishery Association where the household registration is located. The qualifications for application include the insured of agricultural insurance, the regular member of the Agricultural Association or the Class A member of the Fishery Association, and the annual income of the parents does not exceed 1.14 million yuan. Public high school vocational can receive 4,000 yuan, private can get 6,500 yuan, colleges and universities can get 6,500 yuan, and private colleges can get up to 13,000 yuan. News highlights at 10:06 today, 7. A fire broke out at the Taichung thermal power plant, and the outdoor formwork of the Taipower construction site caught fire, and thick smoke came out of the site. The fire occurred during the construction of a new gas plant seawater channel, and it is suspected that the sparks caused the burning of plastic formwork during the cutting of steel bars. The fire was completely extinguished at 10:45 a.m. by the Taichung Port Fire Brigade and the Taichung City Government Fire Department, but fortunately no one was injured and the operation of the unit was not affected. The Fire Investigation Division will further investigate the cause of the accident. News highlights Chinese Commerce Minister Wang Wentao responded to the U.S. tariffs during the two sessions, emphasizing that China will accompany them to the end, criticizing U.S. unilateralism for damaging China-US relations and global supply chains. He said that China-US economic and trade relations are mutually beneficial and win-win in nature, and called on the U.S. side to respect facts, solve problems through dialogue on an equal footing, promote win-win cooperation, and promote the stable economic development of the two countries. News highlights U.S. President Donald Trump has announced that he will suspend the 25% tariffs on Canadian and Mexican goods that comply with the U.S. Mexico-Canada Agreement, USMCA, and will focus on future negotiations between the automotive industry and agricultural products. The tax on Mexico would increase the price of U.S. cars by about $3,000 and affect the supply chains of the automotive industry on both sides. Mexico's retaliation against U.S. agricultural products would hit the U.S. even harder. The move would give the two sides more grace period for negotiations and prevent further escalation of trade relations. News highlights Xiaojun, the leader of the Sihai gang in the case of instigation of Wang Dalu's instigation, was detained by the police on the 6th. He confessed that he was angry for Wang Dalu, and the police suspected that he committed the crime of injury in order to give favors. It is understood that Xiaojun tried to surrender, but did not show up until about 6 p.m., when the police arrested him on the spot in a cafe. The preliminary investigation showed that Xiaojun was the master of the 4 C's gang and taught the driver for Wang Dalu free of charge. At 9:30 in the morning today, 7th, Xiaojun was transferred to the new Taipei District Procuratorate on suspicion of injury. News highlights Christina, a 28-year-old woman in Russia, climbed on the edge of a window to perform during a live broadcast, and later lost her strength and began to shout for help. Her 10-year-old daughter heard this and came to the rescue, but was unable to hold her mother due to lack of strength. When her daughter tried to find other help, Christina had already let go and fell down the stairs, dying instantly. Although the cause has not yet been determined, some netizens speculated that she may have made such a dangerous move because of her mental instability due to alcohol or drug abuse. Christina has 3 children and is currently in the care of her stepfather. News highlights Lin Lin, the former chairman of the domestic industry, and others are suspected of conducting insider trading, using undisclosed information to buy and sell the company's shares, and illegally making a profit of more than 200 yuan before the company released major information in January last year. The Taipei District Prosecutor's Office directed the Investigation Bureau to conduct a 14-way search and interviewed 7 people, and Lin Nan and others were transferred to the prosecution on suspicion of insider trading. After the prosecutor's re-interrogation, Lin Nan and others were set up on bail, and the domestic industry said that it had cooperated with the investigation, and stressed that the incident had no significant impact on the company's finances. News highlights TSMC announced that it would invest $100 billion, about NT $3,291.5 billion, in the United States, and President Li Qiang and Chairman Wei Zhijia emphasized that this move is of great significance to Taiwan-US relations, and stressed that TSMC's investment will not affect Taiwan's production lines. However, former legislator Guo Zhengliang pointed out that TSMC's reduction of investment in Taiwan could cause Taiwan's economic losses of more than NT $5 trillion in the next 4 years and affect concentrated investment and employment opportunities. Wei Zhijia said that the U.S. investment will not affect Taiwan, and stressed that TSMC will continue to develop in Taiwan. News highlights the Ministry of National Defense reported that from 6 a.m. yesterday to 6 a.m. today, a total of 5 sorties were detected, 4 of which crossed the center line of the strait and entered the southwest airspace, and a total of 6 ships were detected, with a total of 11 aircraft and ships continuing to operate around the Taiwan Strait. In addition, the Defense Department also detected 11 Chinese Communist balloons flying into Taiwan's Air Defense Identification Zone, and the balloons drifted eastward from the Taiwan Strait and crossed the island of Taiwan to the Pacific Ocean. The National Army has closely monitored and responded to these activities. News highlights Huang Xixian criticized the KMT for facing the wave of recalls, and the problem was not the joint signatures of the 32 legislators, but a large number of imposter signatures and unqualified signatures, and the fraudulent behavior damaged the credibility of the KMT. He pointed out that the KMT has failed to face up to the performance of the Legislative Yuan, viewing the recall movement as a conspiracy of the DPP, and should humbly respond to social reactions and engage in dialogue, rather than pushing the issue to its opponents. News highlights: 38-year-old Chen Nan pretended to be Guang Sunwang and lied to Christian fan Xiaomei that his back pain was infantile and needed to be solved by excessive legal affairs. Xiaomei remitted 178,000 yuan for medical treatment, but the pain was not resolved, and she called the police after discovering that she had been deceived. After the trial, Chen Nan was sentenced to 5 months in prison for fraud, and later reconciled with Xiaomei, and the sentence was changed to 3 years of probation in the second instance. News highlights: after a shoulder and neck massage, a Chinese woman found that her left arm was numb and unable to stabilize her belongings, and was diagnosed with acute cerebral infarction after being sent to the hospital. The doctor pointed out that due to excessive force during massage, the carotid artery was damaged by stimulation, resulting in carotid artery dissection, which in turn caused cerebral infarction. The woman was lucky to seek medical attention in time and avoided the tragedy of paralysis. The doctor reminds that if you have symptoms such as neck pain and dizziness, you should seek medical attention immediately. News highlights: former Shiseido daughter actress Li Mi shared swimsuit photos on social platforms, and she was calm about the stretch marks on her stomach, which caused heated discussions. She said that it is normal for postpartum stretch marks to separate from the rectus abdominis muscle, but for the sake of appearance and work needs, she decided to have surgery to improve her posture, and announced that she would share her follow-up plans. Li Mi also admitted that she felt a little concerned about netizens' criticism of her ugly belly, and thanked the fans who supported her. News highlights: actress Chen Qion recently responded to the topic of eating chicken Buddha, chicken testicles, bluntly saying that every time she mentioned this matter, someone was always surprised and teased her. She said that chicken Buddha is a common food in her hometown, and humorously pointed out that if anyone is surprised, it may be because they have never seen it. She also emphasized that everyone has different dietary preferences and that she doesn't like fruits, and encouraged everyone to look at the world. Chen Qion's straightforward response won the support of fans and sparked heated discussions among netizens. News highlights: internet celebrity Chen Yi was sued by Li Yijun for reprinting and ridiculing the picture card of the fan book of woman barrister Li Yijun, and using it to promote Ludian products. On the 7th, the Taipei District Prosecutor's Office filed a public prosecution. Li Yijun posted on social media, revealing that the complaint was 25 pages long, and thanked her assistant for helping to sort out the evidence. Chen Yi humorously responded to being indicted, saying that he was accused because he looked like Song Haikyo. Li Yijun accused Chen Yi of violating the copyright law, and Chen Yi said that he used the picture card without authorization and did not inform the manufacturer, and the manufacturer was not prosecuted. News highlights: Hong Kong male god Wu Yanzu is over 100 years old, actively operating platforms such as Zaya Hongshu and Douyin, and has recently opened online classes to teach English. He has partnered with mainland education brands to launch 84 English lessons, covering practical English in everyday life with interactive sessions. The price of the course is 398 yuan, about NT $18.30, which attracts a large number of fans to sign up. Netizens said that they were very excited to listen to Wu Yanzu's teaching, and joked that they might not be attentive. News highlights: Japanese actress Satomi Ishihara announced on the 7th that she was pregnant with her second child, with an expected delivery date of early summer and maternity leave from March. She said through her agency that it is a miracle to welcome a new life and thank fans for their support. On March 14th, he will still attend the Japan Academy Film Awards ceremony, and NHK will take a temporary leave of absence from the program. Satomi Ishihara married a senior executive of a foreign-funded company in 2020, is now 38 years old, and made a comeback after giving birth with the movie Missing and won a number of actress nominations, and the Best Actress award will be announced on March 14th. News highlights: under the influence of northeasterly winds and continental cold air masses, the Meteorological Department issued a special advisory on heavy rain and low temperature today, July 7th. There are localized heavy rains on the north coast of Keelung, Taipei, Xinbeizizi, and Hualien mountainous areas, so it is necessary to guard against collapse and rockfall. In the early morning, the low temperature in some areas was below 10 degrees, and Matsu was the lowest at 8.2 degrees. The north and northeast have a high temperature of 15 to 16 degrees during the day, and the central and southern parts are warmer. Rainfall is concentrated in the north and northeast, and the probability of rainfall increases in the north of the central part and the northeast from daytime. The cold air mass affected Saturday, and the temperature rose on Sunday but remained cool in the morning and evening, and the rain continued in some areas. News highlights: TSMC announced that it would invest at least $100 billion more in the United States, causing international attention and heated discussions in Taiwan. Chu Hongzhen, an associate professor at the Department of State-Owned Enterprises in Taiwan, criticized Chairman Wei Zhijia for sorry for Taiwan, saying that his decision may cause the stock price to plummet, and he should apologize to shareholders and the whole of Taiwan. He believes that TSMC's visit to the United States may weaken its foundry advantage, and even go to the road of Intel weakening, and calls on Zhang Zongmu to return to leadership. Chu Hongren bluntly said that TSMC is at a critical moment, and excessive expansion of U.S. investment may endanger competitiveness and long-term development. News highlights the Dawin branch of the Administrative Enforcement Office of the Ministry of Justice said on the 4th that although Far Eastern Airlines has not officially suspended business registration, it has been closed for many years, and the accumulated outstanding Dawin airport fees have reached more than 43.94 million yuan, and its MD-83 aircraft has been sealed. The aircraft has been out of the factory since 1998, and its structure has been seriously damaged, and it is difficult to return to flight. Far Eastern Airlines did not send a representative to explain the liquidation plan. The Dawin branch office stressed that it will speed up the implementation process and called on the public to pay public law debts on time to avoid property seizure. News highlights the Ministry of National Defense announced on the 7th that in the past 24 hours, the Communist Army sent 5 military aircraft and 6 warships to operate around the Taiwan Strait, of which 4 Communist planes crossed the center line of the strait and entered the southwest airspace. In addition, 11 Chinese Communist balloons were detected to enter Taiwan's Air Defense Identification Zone, ADIZ, and some even flew over the island into the Pacific Ocean. The Ministry of National Defense said that the PLA's move may be intended to collect intelligence, and the Taiwan military has dispatched mission aircraft, naval ships, and shore-based missile systems to continuously monitor and respond to ensure Taiwan's security. News highlights the new Taipei City Environmental Protection Bureau reminded that the mobile power supply should not be thrown into the garbage truck, and should be recycled separately, otherwise it may face a fine of 1,200 to 6,000 yuan. The power bank is a waste dry battery containing lithium batteries, which may cause an explosion risk if squeezed or rubbed. The public can send the end-of-life power supply to the cleaning team or designated recycling points in various districts to ensure safe recycling and reduce environmental and safety risks. The EPA calls for proper recycling to not only ensure safety, but also facilitate the reuse of resources. News highlights actress Da.S, Su Ziwan, died suddenly of influenza complicated by pneumonia during the Spring Festival, and the distribution of inheritance has become the focus of attention. She owned 2 mansions with a total value of about 600 million yuan during her lifetime, of which the mansion in Xinyi district still has to pay a monthly mortgage of 1 million. Previously, it was rumored that her husband Gu Junyi promised to pay the mortgage, but recently, Gu Junyi's friends refuted this statement, calling it groundless. Negotiations on heritage remain unconfirmed, and there is continued interest in developments. News highlights TSMC announced that it would invest $100 billion in the United States, which sparked heated discussions. Chu Hongren, an associate professor at the School of Management of National Taiwan University, bluntly said that TSMC's stock price may fall below 500 yuan, and demanded that Chairman Wei Zhijia step down and apologize to the whole people. He pointed out that TSMC's success depends on a high degree of discipline and operational efficiency, but setting up a factory in the United States will raise costs and weaken its competitive advantage. Chu Hongren further criticized that investing $165 billion in the next 4 years may shake the foundation of Taiwan's wafer foundry, causing the stock price to fluctuate sharply, and lamented that Economic Minister Guo Zhihui also emphasized that if you don't do well, you will step down. News highlights internet celebrity Chen Yi was sued by Li Yijun for reprinting the woman barrister Li Yijun fan picture card, ridiculing typos and promoting Ludian food. The Taipei District Prosecutor's Office determined that the picture card was created by Li Yijun, and Chen Yi reproduced the screenshot without authorization, which was suspected of violating the copyright law, and prosecuted him on the 7th. The prosecutor found that there was no intention to be an accomplice to the manufacturer, and the manufacturer was not prosecuted. News highlights the World Baseball Classic qualifying Series B playoffs were played today, with Brazil beating Germany 6-4 to secure their ticket to the main event. In the game, Brazil scored 3 points in the third game to lay the foundation for victory. Germany scored 1 point in the first game and equalized in the third, but Brazil scored back-to-back points after the third game to secure the victory. Brazilian pitcher Shiva started with 2.2 innings and conceded 2 points, while relay pitcher Da Costa Ramos won. With Brazil's victory, Colombia and Brazil in Group B will enter next year's Classic. News highlights Stanley, a well-known U.S. thermos mug brand, announced a recall of 2.6 million products due to 91 cases of cup lids falling off worldwide last year, 38 of which resulted in burns. Taiwan has also launched a recall program, and consumers can replace cup lids free of charge. Affected products include various capacity travel cups from the switchback and trigger action ranges, where lid threads may shrink when exposed to heat and torsion, causing a risk of detachment and burns. News highlights former Minister of Communications Li Mengyan, who stepped down after only 92 days in office due to an extramarital affair, recently confirmed his return to the Executive Yuan as an advisor, which has attracted attention from the outside world. In this regard, the Executive Yuan Zhou Rongta said that Li Mengyan has a professional background in engineering and water conservancy, and has performed well in public services in the past, and will assist the government in playing a role in water control and balancing Taiwan's development. Chuk stressed that Lee will report to the public with his professional achievements and take responsibility for his work results, despite some doubts from the outside world. News highlights: Kuomintang legislator Fu Kunqing criticized Foreign Minister Lin Jialong for leaking the personal information of Hong Kong's detained members, accusing him of being unfit to serve as minister. Fu stressed that the MAC demanded secrecy, but Lin Jialong disclosed the case on the program, demonized the incident, and acted as a flank of the cyber army. Fu Kunqing demanded that Lin Jialong should step down, questioned his suitability to be foreign minister, and accused the DPP of framing Chen Nu behind her back and obstructing the negotiations. News highlights: Zhongtian News Channel was refused to renew its license by the NCC due to the case of renewing its satellite broadcasting license, and filed an administrative lawsuit. The Taipei High Administrative Court ruled in favor of Zhongtian and revoked the NCC's sanction, but the Supreme Administrative Court overturned the judgment and remanded the case for retrial. Netizens criticized the NCC's inaction, arguing that its actions not only affected media freedom, but also questioned the NCC's continued litigation despite budget cuts. Many expressed their support for Zhongshan and called for the abolition of the NCC. News highlights: when 23-year-old Stephen was in the airport waiting room, she received a napkin left by a pilot, which read, "I have seen the whole world, and you are the most beautiful woman in the world." This confession letter caused heated discussions among netizens. After Stephen shared the video, the content quickly went viral on TikTok, garnering more than 11 million views. Although many netizens questioned the pilot's true intentions, many people supported Stephen to accept this praise without strings attached. News highlights: TSMC founder Wei Zhijie recently explained the investment plan in the United States with President Li Qiang at the Presidential Palace, and clarified the doubts of TSMC. Wei Zhijie said frankly that the establishment of a R&D center in the United States will not affect the outflow of Taiwan's core technologies, and humorously said that the technology optimization process will continue, and stressed that this process should not be reported to avoid imitation by competitors, which caused laughter on the spot. Wei Zhijie also mentioned that TSMC's success comes from strength, and hopes that the government will help solve the land problem. News highlights: after the death of DS, Su Ziwan, an inheritance of nearly 650 million yuan became the focus, of which the mansion under her name still needs to pay more than 1 million mortgages per month. If no one pays, it may be seized. According to sources, Gu Junyi will be responsible for continuing to pay these mortgages. DS said before his death that he would hand over all rights to his mother, and her husband Gu Junyi had reached an agreement with Wang Xiaofei to determine that he would continue to be responsible for the mortgage of the mansion, which has yet to be confirmed by Gu Junyi's agent. News highlights: writer Wang Daiying passed away on February 13 at the age of 95. Yang Tingyuan, director of the Department of Humanities and Publications of the Ministry of Culture, attended his farewell ceremony on the 6th and presented him with a certificate of commendation from the Ministry of Culture in recognition of his contribution to Taiwanese literature. Wang Daiying's self-study lays the foundation for writing, and her writing style is delicate, including The Bird of No Return and Fukan Story, focusing on the perspective of women and the changes in Taiwanese society. Her works depict the changes of Taiwanese women in different eras with precise realism techniques. News highlights: the Chinese team has confirmed their place in Group C of the 2025 Classic and will travel to Tokyo in March 2024 to compete in the group stage against Japan, South Korea, Australia, and the Czech Republic. The schedule is relatively tight, with the 4 matches starting on March 5 and will face a late pick-on lunch situation where noon and evening matches will alternate, and there will be no rest days. Such a schedule has fans worried about the impact on the performance of the Chinese team, especially recalling the 2023 Classic, when the Chinese team failed to qualify due to a late afternoon. News highlights: the Dawin District Prosecutor's Office investigated the election bribery case of the Pingzhen District Farmers Association, conducted a search on March 5, and summoned 17 people to the case. The 3 elected member representatives and candidates paid bail of 5 to 150,000 yuan, and some voters restricted their residence or applied for return without insurance. The case also involved a defendant surnamed Wu, who was suspected of violating the Farmers Association law and the Personal Information Law, and the prosecution requested detention but the court ruled that he should be returned without bail, and the case is still under investigation. News highlights: the 71-year-old eldest sister in the music industry, Chen Yingxia, was sentenced to 3 years and 2 months in prison for instigating the crime of forging securities, and was later released on medical parole due to acute kidney failure and other conditions. On the 6th, the news of her death due to kidney disease was reported on the internet, but it was confirmed that it was a miscommunication after verification by Zhongtian News Network. Chen Yingxia is still recuperating in the hospital and has some dementia conditions. News highlights today, 7th, under the influence of the continental cold air mass, the weather is cold, and the lowest temperature in the early morning is 10.3 degrees in Shiding, New Taipei. The Meteorological Administration issued a special report on low temperatures, and there is a chance of falling below 10 degrees in Meili and Kinmen. Rainfall increased during the day, and there was a brief period of rain in the north of the central part and Yuhua. Daytime temperatures are 15 to 16 degrees in the north, 17 to 20 degrees in the center, and 21 to 24 degrees in other areas. It is recommended to bring rain gear when going out. On Saturday, March 8th, the weather in the north and northeast will be cold, and the rest of the country will be cooler in the early morning and evening.